Hi there. This is the presentation on Leaving Cert Composition, Harmony Question 4. In this we have to fill out a melody line and a bass line with a given chord progression. First of all, fill out the chord grid carefully. Use the information that is already there to help you to do it correctly. Some of the chords are already filled in. Check them for the key signature sharps or flats so you don't forget them. Minor keys have the raised so note. Watch out for it, as it will be given in chord 3, which is augmented, and chord 7, which is diminished. Always do out the bass clef in your rough work so that it is easy to refer to when you want to check the position of notes on it. Remember, the bass clef is also called the F clef. Label the lines and spaces carefully. Have a look at the next diagram. Here we have the bass clef and stave. Bass clef is also known as the F clef. It fixes F on the 4th line, which is here, and the other lines therefore are G, B, D and A, and the 4 spaces are A, C, E and G. The bass line. Always compose the bass line first. Start at the cadence points at the ends of the phrases, and then work from the beginning of the phrase to the cadence. Always start by inserting the root of the chord unless otherwise specified. Give the note the basic value for the duration of the chord. After you have completed the melody, you can add notes to the bass line to make it more interesting. Here is an example of a basic bass line. The given phrase is the top one, and underneath we have 4 bars where we have the chords A/C sharp, A, B minor, F sharp minor, D, A, E and F sharp minor, and I have put in minims as the roots of each of these chords. The melody line. When you compose the melody line, you must follow the same guidelines as in the melody writing question. There is no difference. Remember these points. The melody must have shape and direction. The melody will have harmony and added notes. Do the beginning and end of each phrase and then the middle. Look out for patterns in the chord scheme. This allows for repeated form in the melody. Check out this example. Adding the melody line. If you look at this, you'll see that the similar chord progression at the start of the phrase allows us to use a variation of the given phrase in the melody. After you have done the melody line, then you modify the bass line. By their nature, bass lines jump a lot. After the initial choice of roots, we can find places where the 3rd of the chord can be put between the root and the next chord. Then simple added notes can be used to make the line smoother. Remember, at each chord point you must have the bass note as designated by the chord. All the added notes must go in between. Here is an example of modifying the bass line. If we look at this, we see first of all that in bar 6 we have put a passing note between the F sharp and the D in the next bar. In bar 7 we have a run of quavers joining the D up to the A, and in bar 8 we have 2 crotchets replacing the minim E. Now here are some general points to take note of. In general, try to move the melody and bass in contrary motion. This means in opposite directions. So if the bass is going up, try and make the melody come down. When melody and bass notes move in the same direction, avoid consecutive 5th and octave intervals. Usually, don't put added notes in the melody and the bass at the same time. If you do put added notes in both parts, make sure they create harmonic intervals with each other. In general, try to move notes to the nearest note available. This applies to melody and bass. The bass should use roots and thirds of chords, but not fifths or sevenths. Don't overcomplicate the bass line. Check out how the given phrase has been done and use similar rhythm patterns in your bass lines. Try to use compositional devices like modification and sequence in your melody lines. A/C sharp means use the chord of A major with C sharp, which is the third of the chord, in the bass. It is known as the first inversion of the chord. A very important point is alignment. When you compose your bass line, try to spread the notes geographically in each bar. In other words, in a 4-beat bar, a minim should get half the bar, and a run of 4 quavers should also get half the bar. Sometimes when you add non-harmony notes, you will find that other notes need to be moved left or right, so that, for example, the 3rd beat note in the treble is vertically above the 3rd beat note in the bass, and so on. Consonant harmonic intervals. The most consonant intervals are the 3rd and its inversion, the 6th. Both of these intervals have major and minor versions. The major third, e.g. do, mi, is 2 tones and inverts to a minor 6th, mi to do, which is 4 tones. The minor third, for example la to do, is 1.5 tones and inverts to a major 6th, do to la, which is 4.5 tones. The perfect intervals, unison, 4th, 5th, and octave, are also consonant. Avoid having the 4th between bass and treble, and avoid having 5th intervals between bass and treble, or octave intervals in adjacent chords. Dissonant intervals. The 2nd and 7th intervals are dissonant. They also have major and minor versions. The major 2nd inverts to a minor 7th, and the minor 2nd, or semitone, inverts to a major 7th. These intervals should not be struck together. They can occur in a passing form, but should have steps on approach and exit from them. Good luck.